In 2005, an unexpected but revolutionary wave of scene music hit the mainstream. It was the year MySpace rose in the online ranks of social media and became the most popular of its kind. It gave bands new avenues to introduce their unique sounds to the masses and familiarize the world with the classic scenester selfie pose. With emo, pop-punk, and indie music merged with experimental sounds of a younger generation of musicians, 2005 was an unforgettable year with a lasting effect on alternative music. Here are the essential albums from a year that will forever be known as one of the greatest for alternative. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to APTV and turn on all notifications so you never miss a video. And check out the link in the description to the Spotify playlist featuring songs from these albums on this list. 19 scene albums from 2005 you probably still have on repeat. Alkaline Trio, Crimson. Alkaline Trio continued their reign of the alternative scene with their fifth album, Crimson. The band explored their pre-existing sound that consists of emo lyrics and vocals with a dash of punk. Half of the songs on the album are conceptual, such as Sadie, while the rest rely solely on the members' experiences with life, love, and death. The All-American Rejects, Move Along. The All-American Rejects' second album, Move Along, brought an abundance of commercial success with Move Along and Dirty Little Secret. They branched out from their success as an emo pop band to an all-out pop-punk force to be reckoned with. Across their career, All-American Rejects continued to produce emotional lyrics, but Tyson Ritter's vocals were noticeably more upbeat and joyful. Armor for Sleep, What to Do When You Are Dead. In the midst of the 2005 boom of new scene bands, Armor for Sleep released their second album, What to Do When You Are Dead. Charged with deeply personal, emotional lyrics that detail the heartbreak of being left behind but the desire to admit that love still exists, Armor for Sleep's sound became confessional, mixed with emo and punk. The album is framed around the concept of death, and as such, it tells the truth about the connections between death and life, with Ben Jorgensen's vocals in full force. Bayside. Following the success of their debut album, Bayside released their self-titled follow-up, which featured emotional songs that displayed a passionate disdain for life and love. The album explores loneliness and the deepest pits that someone can fall into in a depressive state. It also gives a fast-tempo rhythm to the often soft-sounding themes found in classic emo music. Cartel. Chroma. Cartel's debut album, Chroma, is a mixture of pop, rock, indie, and emo. Undoubtedly, it's an amalgamation of every great sound in the alternative scene. The product is a unique take of the classic styles of the genres that influenced it. And honestly, the band established their MO of mixing rock guitar riffs with pop-punk's bouncy energy, alongside emo's lyrical honesty. Chiodos, All's Well That Ends Well. The debut record from Chiodos, All's Well That Ends Well, set the stage for their popularity to come, mixing clean vocals with screams. Craig Owens delivers punchy lyrics that detail the confusion of decision-making and love. The album features emo, screamo, and hardcore, but it also introduced a new stylized method of producing scene music. Chiodos utilized Gothic and Shakespearean influences in their songs to successfully separate themselves from the rest. Circa Survive. Juturna. Circa Survive debuted Juturna with a point to prove, and they had the vocals and lyrics to back it up. After leaving Seosin, Anthony Green went on to create his own sound. The new lyrical style sounds more like a conversation with himself than anything else. By mixing emo and punk with this, they made a lasting impression, cementing Green as a legend in scenester circles. Fall Out Boy, From Under the Cork Tree. Leaving behind the sorrowful sounds of their first album, Fall Out Boy reinvented themselves on From Under the Cork Tree. Rather than filling the album with emotional songs about heartbreak, the band took the opportunity to deliver a boisterous sound that dispelled the myth of emo and pop existing separately. With songs such as Dance Dance and Sugar We're Going Down, Fall Out Boy created a conceptual story that celebrated turning negatives into positives rather than relying on melancholy. While retaining their roots with emo lyrics, their refined pop-punk sensibilities welcome the trials and tribulations of youth. Gym Class Heroes, the Papercut Chronicles. Gym Class Heroes released their first mainstream but second album, the Papercut Chronicles, with an unexpected openness. The album explores addiction, poverty, heartbreak, and love. Travis McCoy's vocals established the emo nature of the band while breaking down the barriers between alternative and hip-hop. Jack's Mannequin, Everything in Transit. Everything in Transit is Jack's Mannequin's debut album, which was released following frontman Andrew McMahon's exit from Something Corporate. The album details feelings of burnout that McMahon began to experience within the music industry. It mixes emotional lyrics with piano-led instrumentation to create an inexplicably lethargic and nostalgic feeling toward life. Combining emo, pop, and power pop, the album leaves the listener desiring more than what the world has to offer. Motion City Soundtrack, Commit This to Memory. On their second album, Commit This to Memory, Motion City Soundtrack continued to produce deeply emotional songs with a tonality that shifted between celebratory to absolute loss. Let's Get Fucked Up and Die is the epitome of the album's unforgettable sound. It expresses a deep sense of insecurity with an upbeat tempo that leads Justin Pierre down a path of destructive behavior. The record represents committing the pain to memory and trying to find pockets of light in between the darkness. Panic at the Disco, A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. Panic at the Disco hit the scene with unexpected talent on their debut album, A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. Fronted by Brendan Urie, the punchy, dramatic sounds of his voice mixed seamlessly with Ryan Ross's lyrical talents. It made for an album worthy of immense praise to this day. Fever's catchy lines and vocals, fueled by passionate pleas to dance and seductive imagery, took the scene by storm. Paramore, All We Know Is Falling. Before Hayley Williams went on to start a solo project in 2020, she and her bandmates in Paramore debuted their first album in 2005, All We Know Is Falling. The album is a mixture of pop punk, punk, and emo. Some have even categorized it as mall punk, which was coined during this period due to bands such as Paramore, My Chemical Romance, and Fall Out Boy becoming mainstream. To this day, Paramore are a tour de force of emotive punk with unforgettable creativity and energy. Scary Kids Scaring Kids, The City Sleeps in Flames. Debuting their first album, The City Sleeps in Flames, Scary Kids Scaring Kids presented a dark, complex record drenched in sadness and loss. The title track kicks off the tone that follows the entirety of the record: hopelessness, depression, apocalyptic ideations, and endings. Silverstein, Discovering the Waterfront. Discovering the Waterfront is the second album from Silverstein and packs just as much of a punch as the first. While maturing their sound following their debut album, Silverstein retained the emotive elements that made them an unforgettable band. Smile in Your Sleep and the title track set the bar for the album, detailing heartbreak and discovering the lies a lover is keeping from them. The Spill Canvas, One Fell Swoop. The second album from The Spill Canvas, One Fell Swoop, is a rough, emotionally charged record that seeks to make the listener recognize the pain in the world. With deep ties to emo and indie, tracks such as Polygraph Right Now undoubtedly established the band as one who deserved to be remembered. With One Fell Swoop, the future of The Spill Canvas was set. The Starting Line, Based on a True Story. The second album from The Starting Line, Based on a True Story, features songs that detail the personal aspects of each of the members' lives. It's an album fueled with pop-punk sounds and emotional lyrics that address love and desire. With songs such as Bedroom Talk, The Starting Line established that the record is about the joys that are found in love and the frivolous nature of having meaningless hookups, plain and simple. 30 Seconds to Mars, A Beautiful Lie. A Beautiful Lie, the second album from 30 Seconds to Mars, is drastically different from their debut, which was entirely conceptual. The record is a cerebral account of the personal experiences one encounters throughout their life, delivered through Jared Leto's intense vocals. Intensely passionate, it establishes 30 Seconds to Mars as more than a niche band who rely on a concept album after concept album. Thrice, Vheissu. While new bands were making a name for themselves in 2005, Thrice were cementing themselves into the scene with their fourth album, Vheissu. The album follows themes of optimism and hope, while darkness looms above. Vheissu reflects that sound exactly with emotional ballads such as 4 Miles and punk prowess and Hold Fast Hope that scream pleas for hopefulness in a dark world.